Ocala.
All right, 22 minutes after 11 o'clock. You know, one of the things that the two governor candidates are going back and forth on is the cost of higher education, the cost of college. And while they battle that, the reality is that most students who are in school or thinking about going to school or perhaps paying off the debt from the schooling they've already had, you know, it is an important issue, and so let's talk about that debt. There's a book right here that'll help you. It's called Graduation Debt: How to Manage Student Loans and Live Your Life. It is written by our guest, Reyna Gobel. She's on the phone. She is a student loan and paying for college expert. She's a journalist and a contributor to Money Magazine, Forbes, U.S. News and World Report, The Washington Post, and again, her book is called Graduation Debt. The book is going to be very helpful for those of you trying to simply figure out a way to pay it off easier or to consolidate it all, and she's going to help us out with that right now. Of course, the book will do a lot more than we can do in 10 minutes on the air. Good morning, Reyna. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing great. And just a quick correction, I've been quoted by Money and The Washington Post. I contribute regularly to Forbes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Well, thank you for correcting that. Where are you right now?
I'm in New York City.
Oh, okay. And I'm guessing students everywhere in this country are facing the same thing. I mean, more so than when Robin and I were in school. It didn't seem like it's like my son. He had this huge amount he had to pay for school. My brother as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know what? The biggest thing is that I try to emphasize is that it will be manageable as long as you don't try to just overload yourself with debt. And even if you have, then now's the time to deal with it. And there are so many options with federal loans to get a payment break or get on a payment plan that may be cheaper and more affordable. If you don't have a job right out of college, income-related plans are great because if you don't have any income, you're not going to have a payment.
Okay, and if you're the debt that you owe your school for your education is affecting your credit, is there a way to perhaps fix that?
Yeah, and there's a lot of clarification that needs to be done on that from what people actually think. There's myth versus reality. The amount of debt you have does not affect you getting a home generally. It doesn't affect anything. It's your payment record and how much your payment is that really matters. So if you're able to get on a consolidated plan or an income-related plan where your payments are lower, that's going to help you be able to get a mortgage. But most importantly, no matter what plan you're doing, make sure you are paying on time every month. Now, if you default, which I did about 10 years ago and was one of the inspirations for the book, is I had a default because I simply forgot one of 16 loans existed. It wasn't consolidated with my other loans for some reason. Those were all in good standing. But what I did is able to get an affordable payment. I got out of default. It was just removed from my credit report. What other loan that when you default on it gets removed from your credit report with a few payments? And student loans, there is an option to do that, and it just got better because now they actually have a formula for calculating what that income-based default payment would be. So there's a lot out there for you. Don't feel like this is going to ruin your life.
And do you think that's why so many students will default on their loans and they won't ever try to pay it back because they think it's just too much money per payment?
Yeah, I think there's a couple of things that happen. You get scared of it. You're like, I can't afford this. Or for me, I just didn't know it existed. And you can find out in the National Student Loan Data System the status of all your loans. I encourage people to do that at least every 6 months.
Oh, wow. So the information in the book might not necessarily be easily known. Even like a counselor at the school might not know some of these things.
Yeah, I do get questions from high school counselors and college counselors, and I study this all the time, and there's things that I change my mind on. For instance, I used to believe that you should borrow based on future income. I don't believe that anymore because you don't know what you're going to be at 18. If you try to borrow based on your career choices at 18, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be in trouble.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, it's true. You really don't know where you're going to be.
Yeah, give yourself options.
Are there more options now for the student who had been doing really good and you could get what do they call those loans where they don't have to pay them back? Those are not loans. Those are called
scholarships.
Scholarships, yeah.
Yeah.
That's not part of this, though, is it?
And grants too.
No, it isn't part of the book, but it is something I always encourage, is that to make sure that you're applying to private schools as well, because sometimes they have more endowment money, and you may be costing yourself a lot of money by only applying to public schools. Talk to your high school counselor. Find out who's giving the scholarships. Now, what is discussed in the book, and what does have to do with a lot of people, is 1 out of 4 people qualify for some degree of public service loan forgiveness after 10 years. It's amazing how many people have a public service job and don't realize it. A human resources person at a hospital, because of where they're working, could qualify. So you really just want to look at all your options and think about it. And a lot of it is not as complicated as it appears to be. I do study this all the time, but you can talk to your servicer about options. You're not alone. You can talk to the financial aid officers. You can talk to the student money management offices on your campus. There are lots of people that can help you. And I answer questions for people all the time on my Twitter at Reyna Gobel. I answer every question people send me.
So if a person is working in a government job, any kind of job like that, their loan can be excused?
After 10 years of payments on an income-related plan, if they have all their loans with direct lending or consolidated all their loans to direct lending.
Oh, my gosh.
The information in the book, Graduation Debt, this is the second edition, How to Manage Student Loans and Live Your Life. Reyna Gobel is the author, and we want to make sure that we get this book out there so somebody benefits from it. So call me right now if you want the copy that Reyna sent us, and I'll put your name on it and leave it here at the radio station for you. The rest of us will have to go buy it. And Reyna, that's where I need to get information from you. Do you have a website?
Yeah, graduationdebt.org. And there's also a great resources page that has a link to that public service loan forgiveness form, because I want anyone that has an inkling that they might qualify to go ahead and see if they do.
That is awesome.
Yeah.
I hope everybody's listening.
Yeah.
So there's a link on the graduationdebt.org site for that?
Yeah, on my resources page.
Okay. And just so that I understand you, if you're making payments on a loan, and you're going out for a house payment, don't they consider the fact that you're making that payment? If you're making a $300 payment a month, whatever, I don't know. It just came up with it. Yeah.
They consider the payment. They don't consider the full amount of the loan generally, because
okay.
Like that, the income ratios are the payments. So let's say you can get your payment reduced, then that helps. But what you really worry about if you're making $800 to $1,000 in student loan payments because you're on a 10-year plan. Could you get your payment reduced? You can always pay it off earlier. And that's what people forget, too.
I guess that I needed to hear it twice before it sunk in. Reyna Gobel, thank you so much for being on. Go to graduationdebt.org. We'll be right back.
Fox News Radio, I'm Lillian Wu. The president promises justice in response to the beheading of a second American journalist by militants.
Degrade and destroy ISIL so that it's no longer a threat.
But in response to a question later in that same news conference, the president softened that objective, reducing the terror group's sphere of influence, effectiveness, financing, and military capabilities to the point ISIS is a manageable problem.
Fox Radio's Jared Halpern, a suburban Detroit man sentenced to at least 17 years in prison for killing an unarmed woman on his porch.
55-year-old Theodore Wayfair shot and killed 19-year-old Renisha McBride last fall in Dearborn Heights, Michigan, after he says he was awakened to sounds of somebody screaming and trying to break into his home. A jury last month convicted Wayfair of second-degree murder.
Fox Radio's Jeff Minasso, before his sentencing, Wayfair apologized to McBride's family. And factory orders up a record 10.5% in July. Fox News, we report, you decide.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
On March 3rd last year, Henry W. faced his own death with incredible courage. He wasn't in an accident. He wasn't ill. He wasn't in any danger. But he faced this reality head on. If he died, his wife and children wouldn't be able to pay the mortgage, make the car payments, or keep up the life they'd had. his family would lose everything. So he picked up the phone and called AIG Direct. He found out that through AIG Direct, he could get a $250,000 life insurance policy for less than $14 a month. Now, he knows that he's helped make his family's future secure, no matter what happens to him.
Protecting your family with coverage through AIG Direct is fast, easy, and incredibly affordable. Call AIG Direct right now for a free no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you can save up to 70%. Call now. 1-800-887-7372. That's 1-800-887-7372. 1-800-887.
Legally Yours, brought to you by Fuller & Fuller Attorneys at Law. On the air every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. with John Fuller, a board-certified civil trial lawyer for over 25 years. John welcomes your questions, from business to complex family matters to legal disputes. So tune in every Wednesday morning at 10:30 a.m. for Legally Yours with John.